go ahead and kick this thing off. Hi, how you doing?
How you doing?
You should talk like that all the
Hi,
time.
how are you? Welcome to today's podcast. Okay. All right.
Podcast.
So,
yeah.
yeah, we're podcasting. So, welcome everyone to another episode of Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys. I'm the Jarl.
On the boat.
And we are in it to win it for round 2. So
Round 2, baby.
I don't want to say this is going to be a normal occurrence, but it is going to be a more frequent occurrence. And we will actually see probably more people from the bearded Viking land come on the podcast and co-host this show, whether it be with me and somebody else, or whether it be with JT and somebody else. So we're really just gonna slut it up, guys. So get used to it, especially when we have brew days. Yeah, so you can expect, a solid run of these every what is it, 4 weeks? 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So we have. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was talking to Rob earlier, and he said that he's like, "Oh, fuck me, right?" Because I told him that we were casting tonight again. He's like, "Oh, well, fuck me, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck you."
Yeah.
He got shit to
In
do.
other words, yes.
So then he told me he's just gonna go buy all the shit and then send a picture and be like, "All right, I'm ready, motherfuckers." So Rob's gearing up, dude.
I think I have another fucking microphone and shit sitting over here too. I think I have a whole ass another set over here. Yeah.
Fuck it, let him buy it. If he wants to be on the cast.
Oh, it's too good. You have to buy your own gear. BYOG.
Right.
Oh, it's fucking funny. He wants to be on it. He has so much to say. And we're gonna get him in front of the camera and he's just gonna be like,
gonna go completely silent.
Yeah, he's just gonna be himself in a crowd where he just stands there and he's like,
right?
Ma'am?
He's just standing in the corner judging everybody.
Just watching folks swim. So we got some quick updates, right? We got some more brews in the tank. Saw some tier going on yesterday and today. Been seeing lots of pictures, lots of boiling, lots of spinny juices in tanks and
colors, yeah.
Bathtubs. Yeah, it was like tasting the rainbow. It was like somebody like threw a bunch of purple crayons in some water and just mixed it all up. So
beautiful thing.
I don't know whose flavor is purple out there, but there's plenty of purple flavored crayons coming at you.
Was good.
So yeah, so we have half the team up there doing all kinds of brew stuff, and they're up there kicking ass and taking names. The meadery is officially done.
Dun, dun, dun.
Like you can just water, septic, everything, and we're all good now. So
yeah, and the drinking area outside, like the patio-ish esque drinking
our drunk
area.
corral.
Yeah, yeah, the drunk corral. That should be done. It'll be done by the time the grand opening hits, but they're getting that hacked away here. I was talking to Nate earlier, and he was pretty jazzed about that. So.
Oh, he's always so jazzed.
Dude, he has such a we got to get him on. He's got such a sexy voice, dude, and and he's very smooth when he talks to you. So.
Well, it's funny because he's so like low key, but he just says like he just throws zingers and shit. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like, he's so happy for somebody that's driving all day every day. Like he really loves his job.
Right.
But yeah, so those guys, they're up there. Nate's gonna be building the drunk corral, and that's really the last thing left as far as the meadery updates. So that's kick ass. We're ready to go. pretty soon there's going to be so many bottles on the porch that it's going to be tipping over. But so we'll give you a quick rundown of what's on the agenda tonight. We're going to be talking about men's mental health as always, talking about confidence and kind of where it comes from, how you get it, if you don't have it, what to do. We're going to talk a little bit about helping people how to de-stress if you're all stressed out. I think we've definitely covered some ground there, especially based off our chat last night. That was fun. And then just kind of, just kind of
really
like
good ideas too. I gotta,
yeah,
hopefully they
really had some stuff flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like the things that you do to make yourself happy. That those things that you kind of do to refill your cup. I know we've talked about it before, but we haven't really talked to you about it specifically. I know you've heard it, because you are the overlord, but you don't really get to talk about it. So then we have a little bit of conspiracy corner. We have, what are these man-made lakes hiding? It's a new one, and maybe a little bit about the apocalypse coming on Monday with the eclipse, the AKOCALYPSE, and I don't know, talk maybe about some water, maybe about some civil war. I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll see if we even get through half the agenda. We got just for those that like to hear it up front. That's for you. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Don't say another fucking word. You better like, comment, and subscribe or fucking whatever. Go follow me on the Instagram.
Yeah, you got to get your numbers up, bud.
Yeah, those are rookie numbers. I gotta start showing pictures of my feet or something so people start getting on my Instagram.
That's good. Well, let's dive in.
Yeah. Are you drinking tonight?
No, I'm not. Well, not right now. I've got the H2O and yeah, getting that flowing, and then I may crack a chili millie, maybe in the second half or something like that. But
See, I fucked this up again. I went to the store again today and I forgot to get any lip pillows. So,
oh man, that's a shame.
yeah, it's gonna be could be a disaster here, folks. And we're not just talking about earthquakes in Taiwan.
When me and Rob were loading the stuff today, we went over to to the bar over there to get some food, and I didn't have any pillows, and I felt super naked, like way naked. It was really weird. Like I
Really?
didn't have a flannel, I didn't have like a over shirt. I was kind of chilly from sweating, and the wind was blowing, so I felt really out of place.
You're really
man.
painting a picture, guy. I need you to slow
Yeah.
down. I'm starting to get tingly.
My nipples were getting hard. It was a whole thing.
It's like Megan Fox out of Transformers. That's all I pictured. So you're really into the lip pillows now then.
Yeah, they've been a thing. They're curbing my actual smoking, so I'm happy about that. And I've been trying to cut down, and just for the girls and for my overall health, and they help that. Yes, they are doing damage in other places, but at least I'm not fucking smoking 10, 12 cigarettes a day because I'm all stressed out.
They,
You know?
they need like a warning on it that says don't run while lip pillows, because I could see you like taking off running and just inhaling the fuck out of one of those.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
And just
Especially like
waiting for a
dogs
month for it to
chasing me
work
and
its
shit.
way out.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how quick you can shit those out.
Yeah,
Just
I don't
kind of
know.
start to absorb into the gut, and then you got
We
a whole
should
slew of
do
other problems.
we should do an experiment. Does it
Yeah.
say induce vomiting?
I don't know. Maybe we'll give one to Jax or Gus and see.
You leave Gus. You leave Gus out of this. He's got enough problems.
He can be our science
Oh, he's staying at
experiment
your house until
lab
it comes
rat.
out. Yeah, he's definitely staying with you. So, yeah, let's jump into this agenda. Let's get weird.
Let's do it.
So the question is the confidence kind of, how do you get it? Where does it come from? And kind of what makes you confident and what makes you not confident, I guess. So you got any examples or any stories to tell?
Yeah. Dad was a very confident man, and he still is to this day. And I think for me, a lot of that rubbed off, and I think it was just kind of the more, just the natural, like, I'm Rudy Martinez. You know what I mean? Like when he walked in the room, he was just like, if you don't know me, then
Why
that's
did
your
why
fucking
did,
fault. You know?
I
It
like
was
how you just
it,
did like the 40-year-old black dude to say I'm Rudy Martinez.
well, that's how he walks into the room. Like he's this 40-year-old
Okay.
black dude. He's like he's Louis Gossett Jr. or something, but he's like 4 foot nothing. So it was kind of one of those things, just seeing him be present in a room and seeing how people kind of just reacted to his energy when. So I think a lot of that just kind of rubbed off. And then, from playing baseball forever, um, we got a lot of attention. We got a lot of attention from girls, got a lot of attention from, like our peers. They wanted to, they'd get with us. How do I get better? How do I do this? How do I do that? Um, and then just kind of taking that energy and rolling it over to everyday situations. And then it just kind of grew and grew and grew.
So you'd say that
Normally,
some of it was like learned then.
I think a lot of it was learned, and then when you figured out kind of how to how to exude it, uh, and get kind of the reactions and results you wanted from people, then that was just kind of then it turned into a normal thing that you did. I mean, at least for me.
I could see that. He was definitely the cock of the walk, uh, and still is. When he's definitely a confident man, and I think it comes from a whole lot of years of just having to do stuff and like figured it out, right? You figured
Yeah.
it all out yourself, like figuring out how to fix it yourself, and just kind of. I think that kind of confidence, I think, builds and builds and builds, and then obviously there's like that athletic confidence, that the athleticism where you're not afraid to go forward and do athletic things. I think that was a big confidence builder for I don't know about you, but for me is knowing that you can physically go out there and do anything.
Hmm.
And you know I am the fastest fat kid you've ever seen. And like still go out there and freaking practice and hit dingers at these boys and you know yeah, still being mobile and being able to move and everything. And I might feel it a little bit more now because uh you know I got a belly hole instead of a belly button now. But
You gotta stretch that
yeah.
goddamn hammy.
Dude, yeah, the
It's
hammy definitely has to
dude,
get stretched a little bit
yeah,
more.
they are not easy on us nowadays.
Oh, dude. I remember I think I like tore it or something when I was in the Marine Corps, and it just never got right. It just
Hmm.
never got right.
Yeah, I
And
think the same thing. I tore it sometime in baseball and then just walked it off, rubbed a little
yeah.
dirt on it, and then
Oh fuck, dude.
never got it really fixed, but it's fucked up.
Oh yeah, dude. I pulled mine playing softball. I was rounding two, bro. Uh,
Oh.
I was in. I don't. Maybe I've told this story before on here. I don't remember, but I I was an NCO and they were like, hey, the master sergeant walks in and he's like, hey, any of you guys play baseball? And they just pointed to me in the back, just doing whatever the fuck. I don't know, probably faking work.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that guy back there. He's like, come here. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? And I had met him and knew him a little bit. And I mean, I didn't say what's up. It was just kind of How can I
Oh,
help you?
good.
How you
Yeah.
doing?
How can I help you, sir?
What can I do for you today?
Right.
Uh, but he's like, you want to come play softball this weekend? I was like, yeah.
Ooh.
Where and
Yeah.
when? And fucking dude, so we were going off, right? And hit a freaking smoke show. Should have been a triple easy. I
Mm.
fucking overstepped the bag, so if a foot kind of
Oh,
landed,
that's
and
bad.
that hammy just goes, "Grr," and I made it about halfway, dude, and just started low crawling. Started
Did you
low
really?
crawling, like, yeah, fuck
You
yeah, dude,
didn't
I
you
low
didn't do
crawled
the
without,
hop, the grab and
dude, I
hop?
couldn't. It was like, bing, and I just was like, oh no,
Oh,
oh
that
shit,
bad.
here
I
we
didn't
go.
know
Oh
that it
yeah,
like
dude.
popped on you.
Oh yeah,
Oh
dude.
man, that's
And
fucking that hurts.
it's like it shoots you forward, right? And so I just started low crawling, dude. And like I like low crawled and like rolled to the base and like got there. I was like, that's it. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
out.
done.
But
I'm done.
oh fuck, dude, it was purple from like my butt cheek to the middle of my calf, dude. It
Oh,
was fucked
dude.
up. Oh
And
yeah,
there's
it
not
was
much you
bad.
can do about that either. And just
Fuck no,
ice it,
dude.
man, and just wait.
I think it was like 2 days later. We had like a 6 mile run too.
Oh, no way.
And the lieutenant tried to bitch me out saying, oh yeah, you're an NCO, so you don't have to run with Marines now. I was like, oh, eat a
You're
dick.
like, bro, you saw what happened on the field.
He wasn't there. He
Oh.
wasn't there. Yeah. Say he didn't believe me. And then he sees the fucking bruise on the back of my leg. Cause I was like, fuck you, I'll beat you back. So I'm like stomp dragging. And he's like, why didn't you tell me? I was like, I fucking did.
Like I
I was
did.
like, but you tried to call me out in front of my Marines. And my fucking leg is black and purple and shit.
Right?
He's like, my bad. It's my bad. But yeah, it's not been the same. Long story long. I JT'd the fuck out of that.
Hammy stories are always good though. They're always
Dude,
welcome.
no, dude, it fucking hurts. It's the worst, dude. Isn't it like
uh,
the largest muscle group in your body too?
yeah, I'm sure it
Like your
is. Yeah.
quad and hamstring.
Yeah, there's a lot
It
there.
fucking sucks. It's very meaty.
Yeah, there's a lot of meat there.
Oh
Uh,
fuck.
Another thing you brought up a good point. Uh, just doing things and accomplishing things like at a young age. We were, I was doing it, and then you started doing it. We were working on the cars with dad, and just that feeling of accomplishment, it just adds another layer of confidence that, okay, yeah, I did that. Like I swapped out an alternator, on a 63 Chevy Impala.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And it's an easy thing to do when you think about it. It's three fucking bolts, not a big deal in a belt. It's not a big deal. But when you're 16 and you're digging in there and you're busting your hands up a little bit and then you get
What
it
does this
done
button do?
and it actually works, it does. It adds just kind of another layer of confidence.
Would you say that some of the confidence then, because like what you're talking about, would you say that some of the confidence, it's obviously learned, but would you say that a big part of building that confidence is actually having a father around and being around for your kids to help build your kids' confidence?
I think it definitely helps. I think a lot of it comes down to the character of the individual, though. Because,
I mean, there's definitely some bad dads out there, but
yeah, there is.
I
But you
think for
got,
the most part, dudes are trying to do their best, right?
yeah, you got big brothers and older friends, and then like say baseball coaches and stuff that can kind of fill that void and be good role models in that sense. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's an end all be all, it's a make or break, but I think it really kind of depends on the individual because uh, naturally I'm kind of an introverted person, and I've kind of had to force myself to be extroverted and to actually want to be around people and to show that confidence and just show that I'm here and I am who I am, and walking with
Right.
that confidence in silence I think is a big thing as well. You don't have to go in and be like, I'm here, or anything like that. You just kind of walk in and you're owning it and you wear it. I think that's a huge part of it as well.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about kind of, the way JT and I, when we go in and we're in the same place and we're in an event or something like that, we kind of work the room differently and kind of go and talk to different groups of people. And we're never really in the same place. And the same goes for you. You're never really in the same place as either one of us either. So we kind of just make new friends, and we're like, all right, fuck, see you bitches later. Like I see you guys all the time.
Yeah.
So, and then like
We just
we'll
spread out,
reconvene later.
disperse.
Yeah,
Hmm.
after everybody starts filtering out, we'll hang out at the end of the night or whatever it might be. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, I think it's definitely three different types of confidence. Um, and there's probably tons of different variants out there. Um, where you're kind of introverted and I just look mean, but I generally talk to people and I'm nice. And JT's just kind of just out there and in your face, right? So, but I'm sure there's other ways that people go about it too. But I think those are three good examples of just making it easy, right? Making it easy to just go talk to people and I think all of us kind of need a recharge because we've talked about meeting people with the same energy that they're meeting you with, and we're kind of going above it sometimes if you need to. uh it does take a lot out of you. It gets kind of draining after a while. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or that we don't want to do it because we love doing it, but there's definitely that time that it takes to kind of recharge and get yourself ready to go back out there and do it again. Like I have mad respect for these dudes and or these guys and gals that go out there and they're playing like rock shows and country shows and the GOMTV raps like every fucking night
Hmm.
and going out there and meeting everybody and shaking babies and signing stuff and whatever.
Oh man, it's got to be a
And
whirlwind.
yeah, I mean, how do you remember where the fuck you are?
Mm.
And then if you are drinking, how the hell do you recharge, right? And get back to zero so you can go out the next night and do it again. Unless you're just like, all right, gah, 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 and then just go out there and tear it up.
Just be ripped for like 6 months straight.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that would be
gosh, dude.
so hard, dude.
Yeah. So mad props to those guys that keep it together. And then you got like bands like fucking Aerosmith and shit like that. They're still all alive and
Yeah,
touring and doing stuff. It's like, holy shit, guys.
in
How
their
long are you
mid
going to be able to
60s.
do this? Yeah, and they've done
Yeah.
all the drugs and they're
There's no
still
more
kicking.
drugs to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, how the fuck do you do that many drugs and still just keep it together?
Yeah, definitely a kudos to them. And I think, after kind of getting used to that lifestyle, you sort of morph into, those kind of things and grab that recharge session when you need it. But it's got to be so hard to do something like that and to even think about it because doing the stuff that we've done, psych yourself up to go out there and just talk to someone. It's not
Go out there and give it.
go and get them. It's not an easy thing to do for a lot of people, but the cool thing is that I've seen, that I've noticed, that I really enjoy is that after just talking for a little while, I'm glad I did. You know what I mean? I'm glad I'm there. I'm glad that this people are receptive and we're having a great conversation. I'm not going to remember it because I have a shit memory, but I'm going to remember their face, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I mean, they'll remember it, they'll remind you of it. And, I think as long as people know, hey, I got hit in the head really hard, you're part of the TBI club and you never got blown up. So you never had to sign on the dotted line, but look under your chair.
Yeah.
Here's the TBI. So fucking
Listen,
Oprah came through again, just
thank
hanging at
God
Diddy's
for
house,
Oprah.
just hooking
Just,
people up.
just shooting 3-pointers with the TBIs and knocking them down.
Fucking stupid. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think the majority. I mean, our crew knows it, but I think and now America knows it, or whoever watches or listens knows it. So, yeah, you can't be offended if you go up to the boat and have like a long, heartfelt conversation, and you want to introduce him to your fat sister. He's probably gonna remember your sister, but he's not gonna know how he got introduced.
what's your brother's name? Super cool guy. I loved his
I
hat.
think I remember him from somewhere.
Yeah. He looks super familiar to me. It's like the
It
fourth time
checks
we
out.
met.
Dude, we've met this guy like 30 times.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's funny too because then you get mad at me. You're like, the guy that we met, Nah, dude, I don't even fucking know that guy.
You're like, come on, man. You're supposed to
I'm
be
like,
my wingman here.
yeah, I'm like, I'm probably just as bad or worse than you. I am super bad with names. I'm good with faces. Like, oh yeah, I know you.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you your name, but yeah, it's definitely it's a problem. I think maybe the Marine Corps ruined me because everybody had like their name on their chest.
Oh yeah.
And
So it made it easy.
yeah, now nobody walks around with their fucking name on their chest anymore, which is a super big bummer.
We should start
It's
doing that. Just handing
you
out
just
name
put name
tags at
tapes,
events.
just
Yeah.
embroider name tapes onto our shirts.
Hello, my name is.
Yeah,
If I'm
yeah.
lost, please contact.
Please turn my shirt inside out. My emergency contact is on the tag.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those things, but having the confidence to go into those types of situations or even like a situation like you started talking about, just fixing cars and things like that. We had all the confidence in the world 2 weeks ago and we were going to fix your Toyota
Yeah.
and we got in there and we're like, "Oh, so it turns out we don't have fancy Toyota taken apart tools and
Right.
yeah, but we were still very confident at that point that we weren't going to do that job and that we
Yeah.
were going to get drunk. So we were going to drink
Just
the same
turned
amount
to a
of
different
beers.
subject, and yeah,
Yeah,
we just
it-
started a little earlier and got it
yeah.
done. You know.
I mean, still absolute unshakable confidence, right? We were absolutely confident that we were not going to do the job anymore.
Not gonna do it. We're
And
done with this shit. Fuck it. I'm paying for it.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
turned out to be a really bad day to be a bush light.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
We definitely
things.
crushed some bush light.
Yeah, I mean, we did some chores around the house. We tore
Yeah,
some
we did
some bush
chores.
lights up. Yeah.
And my favorite nights over there are when it's just kind of a random uh, rotation of things, and then we end up playing pool or hanging out and whatever, and Justine comes down and just starts whooping us all, and
Oh, I
then
know.
and then she starts to get drunk and play like shit, and then we're all playing like shit, and then the kid comes in and starts beating us. Like, what the fuck, man?
Go to bed. I thought we put you to bed two
Like,
hours
why are
ago.
you
What the
up?
fuck are you
It's
doing
3 in the
here?
morning, dude.
I came down for some water.
Right? I'm not giving you another buck.
Yeah. No, this place is an absolute shit show on the weekends for sure. Um, but yeah, and then she like makes us do chores,
Yeah, that was a good
and
chore though.
yeah, it was. I mean, we were confident that we were going to get it put up too.
Oh, we knocked
That's
that out of the
that's the
park.
key was confidence.
Yeah, there was no stopping us with that, especially after like 14 beers, dude. We were all in on that
Dude,
that project.
that that project hung itself.
Dude, that project was way easier than the fucking FJ. And
Dude,
I'm like, all right, let's
we
start small again, and then maybe we can think about doing the
right,
FJ.
just build our confidence back up. We're like, huh, we used a
Exactly.
level, we used a pencil
Exactly.
and a drill. We
We
got
did
this.
fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's turned out really nice. It was a nice little Saturday. We didn't make it to Bed Bath and Beyond or Home Depot, but it was a nice little Saturday.
Definitely got some work done though.
Yeah, well, so we talked about kind of the confidence and the confidence building and everything, and I think it's kind of a fun subject, so we can be a little bit more lighthearted about it and a little less doom and gloom, right? Because different things build your confidence, and you know, I think there's probably some people out there that are not confident enough to just be like, oh, okay, well, I can put this together out of this box with zero instructions.
Oh, the instructions are
Yeah,
fucking terrible.
yeah. It wasn't exactly IKEA status instructions,
No.
for putting a. So so for reference, it was a pool cue stick holder that mounts on the wall for everybody out there, so you know what the project. So it's not, well, not exactly rocket surgery, but you know, 14 bushes and fuck ton of confidence later, we got that sucker put up.
fuck ton of confidence.
It's
Definitely
just,
know how to work with wood.
yeah, it's wood is our thing. I didn't even get any slivers, but
Mm.
even small things like that, right? It takes a certain amount of confidence to just be like, all right, well, here we are, we're doing this, you know?
Well, then to dump all that shit out of the box and be like, this is supposed to be something. What the
Yeah,
fuck, man? You
there
know
was
what I
no
mean?
pre-built piece of that at all.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I think that kind of uh moves us into the next little, you know, part of our agenda too is like helping people. But I think you have to be at least have some confidence in yourself so you can actually go out there and help other people and in whatever form or fashion that it might be. And helping people can, be just as simple as, seeing somebody at the store that needs help and walking up and helping them. Or, like what you were talking about last night, actually getting into the community and helping with the community. I thought that was a really good thought. And I think it definitely needs to go as on record from you as getting into the community.
Well, and I think that that's one of the things that is really big, and starting small, helping people, and just kind of having that mindset really kind of transforms into those big things, and making sure that obviously you have to have the energy and the confidence, and your cup has to be full to be able to do those kind of things. But you know like you mentioned, I am a magnet just for weirdos on the street, and and just that random conversation where they're not even asking me for money or anything, like they just want to have a chat. And why they pick me out, I don't know.
No, you're like the
Clueless.
hobo whisperer.
Seriously.
Like,
And I don't know why, but it's sometimes it makes me feel good, because if they feel comfortable enough or safe enough to come up and talk to
like
me.
the resonance of your kind soul and your kind
Right.
face.
It's illuminating me, and
Yeah.
it's this is the magnet. They're like mosquitoes to my light.
Oh yeah, dude. And we call it top gearing when we just leave one of our friends behind, and we top gear the shit out of you just constantly.
Just
Like it
constantly.
could, and I'm really looking forward to it because Autorama's coming up, so we're gonna
You're looking
be,
forward to top
yeah,
gearing me.
yeah, dude, just top gearing the
That's a day.
shit out of you, dude. It's so funny
It
because
happens all the
sometimes the
time
look on
though.
your face is just like,
It's like, I'm out of here, bitch. Peace. I'll pour you a
Peace.
beer.
Adios. I'll probably drink your beer before you get back here.
No
No, but
kidding.
so that's another thing too. Sidebar: if y'all want to see us, we're gonna be at Autorama at the Mountain America Expo Center. The boat and I will be in the Nutcracker booth. If you want to come and see the infamous Murph
Yeah.
and his uh his yeah, he's our special boy. So if you want to come by and see
His
us, see
bright
him,
smile.
yeah, his bright redneck smile. We'll be there, and you guys can come visit us, check out some cars, and who knows, you might be lucky enough to get top geared with the boat here.
Hey
But
man, I'll talk your ear off. If you want to chat about something, let me know, man. I'm there, man. I'm in there. I'm there for
only
the long haul.
only two things that's gonna make him go: his bladder, and he needs a refill of beer.
Yeah, make sure if you stop me, I got a full beer, or else I'm
Yeah,
out, man. I got
yeah,
like 10 minutes. No, but come
yeah,
down. It'll be a good time.
yeah.
It's gonna be a real good time. We'd like to see you. There's discount tickets at the AutoZone or the
O'Reilly,
O'Reilly's
O'Reilly,
or
yeah.
O'Reilly. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, come down. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it makes our time better getting being able to talk to you and getting to meet you guys because I mean we have fun with each other, but just little things like that, stuff that brothers like to do, to just ultimately screw with each other. You know, we have fun little games that we like to play.
It's
So
real.
don't be surprised if you don't get caught, or don't be surprised if you get caught in the middle of one of our games.
The shenanigans.
Evil shenanigans.
You be in on the shenanigan, and then you can comment on what shenanigan you saw. Um, but yeah, I think one of those big things about being being able to help people and wanting to really, it kind of lights a fire within you. You know, I've for a long time I've supported the baseball league, and did the coaching and did stuff like that, and helped people when they needed, help around the neighborhood or anything like that. And I feel like that helping, giving spirit, you know, even if you even if you just give a little bit, like we were talking last cast, you get back so much in return, and not even another favor from somebody else or monetarily or anything like that. It just kind of, if that fills my cup up a lot, you know,
Hmm.
just that gratification of just helping somebody when I can, and that they came to me and needed the help. I gave it to them, and we're done. You know what I mean? And made that a new connection, maybe, with somebody that I may not have.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point yesterday too when we were chatting. Especially when it talked about the coaching and the impact that it had on your generation, and then my generation to follow. Uh, when it came to the coaches helping the kids out, and the coaches helping keep the kids straight, and not turning into gangbangers and doing lines of coke off of strippers and stuff like that, because you end up it was Rose Park. No, but
I just thought it was a bad road.
I was just
No,
saying, once you
kids,
get there,
don't
it's
do
a road
drugs.
less traveled.
Yeah, it is a road less
Stop it.
traveled. It's it's a
Yeah,
dark and windy
yeah, don't do drugs.
path.
Uh, but no, the coaches kind of kept kids out of trouble. There was baseball practices and games, and if you wanted to play baseball, you had to have your grades up. And back then, coaches would be like, "Let me see your report cards," especially when we got older,
Hmm.
or talk to moms and dads and say, "Hey, what's his grades look like? If he's his grades are shitty, then he's playing the minimum, that type of stuff." And I remember even I screwed up one time. I had to sit out for a quarter in high school ball because I fucked up. And
Sucks.
yeah, it totally sucked. Good thing it was like spring, so it was like, but
Sure.
still, it was like, that was at least 15, 20 at bats I could have had, or more.
Hmm.
But enough about me. But the the coaches.
Ah, you confident son of a.
Pow, pow, pow. So, but the coaches really do help out, and kudos to you when you were coaching and everything. You didn't have a kid on the team. Uh, I know that you helped coach teams that I wasn't on, but you also coached teams that I was on, and most of the time you just as soon shoot me in the face when you were coaching me. But that's just kind of the I don't know. It, but you were good with everybody, and I've coached teams with friends who I didn't have a kid on the team or anything like that, but they needed help, so went and helped them. And never wanted to coach again, not because I had a bad experience or anything. I just didn't want to coach. I didn't
Yeah.
want to coach my kid. I wanted to find somebody that was qualified. And
No.
it turns out we did, which is cool. But I also got sucked into helping coach, right? Because there wasn't a coach for the age group team that we were trying to get together with. So, and it's rewarding as hell. And you do feel good when that kid finally listens to you and does what you've been telling them for the past 3 months, and something finally clicks, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, and everybody's cheering, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, he did it, but I told him, woo.
I'm telling him that for months, yeah. Fuck yeah.
So it's like those small like triumphs and stuff like that, but it comes from volunteering your time and helping, and it's not always something that you want to do. It's just like what I was saying. It's not always something that you want to do. It's just something that you need to sometimes.
Mhm.
And it wasn't that I didn't want to be there. You're given like the the thumbs up, and it just keeps bubbling up because of your hand right now.
Is it?
Yeah, you got
My
like
bad.
3 in a row. You were doing like the Clinton.
Good for you. Good for coaching, buddy. I want to keep those thumbs. Keep going.
But it does. I didn't want to do it, just not because I didn't want to be there for my kid or anything, but just because I wanted to have him have an experience of working for somebody else.
Mhm.
And I think that's a big deal, especially with kind of the generation that we have now. Is I'm going to be harder on my kid than another coach is going to, which is proved to be uh, less beneficial.
Yeah.
You know, just they're built different. These kids are built totally different than we were.
Yeah,
Like,
that competitive spirit is just not what it used to be. Like uh, when I was coaching you guys, well, and even when we played, like it was you get in, you give 110, you rip your hammy up, you slide on shitty fields, rock filled fields, and
oh
rip your legs up, and did it with a smile, did it with a passion. And these kids nowadays, they just don't have the killer instinct that we had in our
no,
generations playing ball. And it's fucking frustrating,
oh
to
no
see that,
doubt.
especially when I can't even imagine, like, when you're coaching and you're just banging your head against the dugout wall. I'm
Good
like,
job,
what?
little Billy. Let's get him next time.
Yeah,
Fuck
like
no, dude. There would have been a ball bucket thrown across the field if it was.
Oh man, could you imagine? Like coaches like Gravy and Mars and oh
Oh my
man, those
gosh.
guys were insane. And even Mike Romano, that guy, he was a bulldog, bro. He was scary to play for.
Dude, I think I saw Mars kick himself out of a game before. He was so pissed. He just like left. He came back a couple hours later, like went and watched from left field,
Oh,
came back and was
dude.
like, "You guys didn't even deserve a coach." Like, fuck you, dude. But yeah, dude, just shit like that. That was at a higher level and everything. But I remember even when, we were younger playing at Rose Park, just the amount of shenanigans that would happen then. Freaking your coach would get thrown out on purpose to try and fire up the team to get another 4 or 5 runs,
Right?
to try and
Yeah.
come back. No, it's like you get thrown out of the game, like your kid, and the other coach don't get to come back for 2 games and shit like that. It's like,
Yeah, it's garbage.
yeah, like, yeah, people probably got in some fights and stuff like that, but it was
Oh, dude.
baseball.
I remember when coaches would, like, they'd do the chicken walk out in the parking lot after, you know what I mean? After the game, coaches and umpires and stuff, they're chicken walking at Riverside, you know what I mean? We're
Oh yeah.
like 10 years old and they're doing the
Yeah, we're
chicken
like
walk out there.
climbing
Gravy's
that crab
crazy.
apple tree, just trying to figure out what the over under is on the ump beating the shit out of the
Right?
coach.
Right?
Get out of that goddamn tree!
Yeah,
You're gonna break an arm.
and then Tinner's just in the corner, just throwing another empty beer can in the back of his truck,
Or just
ready
in
to
the corner of
roll
the
out.
dugout.
Yeah. Dude, those are the best times. Baseball just is not what it used to be.
No, it was a very
Little League
volatile,
baseball,
shifty
Eddie.
environment. Yeah,
Yeah, it
dude.
was.
Now you gotta like sneak a beer in there. Um,
Yeah.
no, it was definitely a different world, right? And the things that the coaches did when we were young, you can't even do it now. Everybody's too soft and they made up all kinds of rules, and you can't do shit like that anymore. But which kind of takes some of the fun out of the volunteering, but you still do it.
I still gotta do it. Whatever.
I still volunteer.
The banner's up there. Might as well just get kicked out of a game every now and again.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, this fucking. I don't know how many horse's ass trophies Dad got because he was always kicked out.
All right.
Yeah, so it was fun though.
Yeah, those were good times. Definitely a different time, but definitely we take our hats off to those guys who did it, and those guys who didn't have kids that were coaches like forever, like Solorio and those guys, like they didn't have kids that were playing.
No,
and
not at all.
and just coached because loved to help, loved giving back, and loved the game and loved the kids, and like you said, wanted to keep them off the streets and out of the gang shit and out of the drug shit and really made a difference in a lot of those kids' lives.
Yeah, it definitely changed. I think the trajectory of some of the kids' lives for sure. Especially in your generation. It seems like your generation was a little bit more into that, that thug life because a lot of that. I know a lot of that stuff was brand new. You got
Mhm.
brand new Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube and
Oh yeah.
NWA and all that shit. So everybody thought they were super gangster.
Yeah, thuggin'.
So yeah, so I think that it definitely changed the trajectory of a lot of kids. Some people fall through the cracks or whatever, but you can help the ones that want to be helped, and the ones that don't, well, they're gonna do their thing.
What was another cool thing too is we had cops in the neighborhood that our parents knew, and the cops would watch over us too. They'd either be at the school, doing a little school patrol, or they were patrolling the streets of our neighborhoods, and they lived in the neighborhood, and you don't get that very often. At least I don't think so.
No, no,
And
it like especially like knowing the kids by name, not just
yeah,
because they were dickheads,
yeah,
but just because they lived around the corner from you.
they lived in the neighborhood. They knew you. And so to get stopped by one of them, while you're walking, walking down the street, walking to 7-Eleven or something like that, and or they're parked there and they holler out your name and they just bring you over to the car and you just have a little chat. How you doing? What's going on? And what are you into? How are your grades? That was a cool thing. It was kind of a pain in the ass back then, but I always felt like they knew that they were doing a good thing and I appreciated it. You know, I really
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
I really did.
Well, and I mean, it also builds that sense of community too,
It really
and
does, yeah.
and it builds the confidence that you have too in the guys that are patrolling your neighborhood because if something ever happens, you can go find
They're the
Officer
first.
Johnson
Yeah.
or whatever and be like, hey man, I need help. Or if you get busted doing something stupid, they're gonna be like, oh, it's a damn Martinez boys,
Yeah.
or something like that, and you might get let off the hook this one time with a warning and you don't get the shit kicked out of you by by your dad
Oh
or
man.
whatever for doing something dumb.
Yeah, and instead of hauling you into the station or DT or whatever, taking you downtown, he just throw you in the car, give you a good ass chewing and take you home. And then
Right.
what the old man was
Yeah.
gonna do
Yeah.
after that.
Take you down Redwood for a little bit and then turn you around after you got nice and scared.
Yeah, yeah. And then it was up to the old man to finish the job.
Yeah. That was where that fucking video game came from, dude. They're like fatality.
Right.
Finish him. But yeah, no, it was definitely the good old days. And I think that the way these kids are now, we've talked about it a ton. It's just different now, and people are too too wrapped up maybe in what they're doing or wrapped up in the rules to when some kid does something stupid to just immediately want to freaking just charge him with everything, like throw
Just
the
throw
book
the
at
book
him.
at him.
And it's like, come on, man. Like, let the kid work it off or do something else. Give the kid a chance, especially if it was, that young dumb mistake,
Yeah, and you were talking about adversity too, where we grew up with a lot of adversity, and a lot of that shaped our characters and framed our characters. And these kids nowadays, um, they don't have a lot of adversity in their lives, and so there's not a lot of um, character building from those kind of things, and having to kind of wade through some hard times to 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 build themselves up. Now everything's just kind of handed to them in a lot of ways, and they're patted they're patted along rather than shown a little bit of rough times, a little bit of skin on the knee, skin in the knees, some rocks embedded in your thighs or something, as a metaphor for going through a little bit of rough life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, these we talked about it a little bit last night too. The kids, even if I take the kids that are on, Sam's team as an example, you have a bunch of kids that are 9 years old, and when we were 9 playing at that level, we weren't on the travel ball teams or super league teams because it was barely even a thing back then.
Yeah.
And usually the kids that were on those teams weren't the kids that were good anyway. It was just a group of kids that they were trying to put a team together, and they got on the team.
Mhm.
And a lot of us kind of like, when the day was over and we had already played our 1 or 2 games, we are like, whatever, dude, we're out of here. We're gonna go to the
Yeah.
playground. You
Yeah.
know, we're gonna go get foul balls and snow cones, or we're gonna go keep score. It's
Exactly.
just some shit. We're gonna go play with our buddies. Screw that. And so now it's like all these travel ball teams and everything, because the baseball leagues are just absolutely gutted. You know,
Sad.
and yeah, no, it's super sad, but it's the talent isn't going there anymore because there's so many moms and dads that just don't care. They don't care, and they never worked with their kid a day in their kid's life, and all of a sudden, their kid shows up and he's 8 or 9 and has no idea how to even throw the ball.
Yeah.
And if that happened, that maybe happened with like maybe 1 or 2 kids in the entire league when we were playing. And those kids, I mean, they didn't last long
Hmm.
because nobody was going to let off the throttle just to help them, to help them get better. Like, they had to get better quick, or they're going to have to,
Yeah,
move
or they're
along, go
gone.
play
Yeah.
soccer
Hmm.
or whatever. And that's it's a lot different using these kids as an example now. These kids are all, they're fairly good, but there's no adversity. There's no, and kudos to their parents. Their parents have done well. And, I got to use my own kid as an example too. It's like he gets shit given to him too. He's got the easy life. Um, and these there's not much different with these other kids either. And they've never really had to scrap it out for stuff, or learn how to channel their anger into, being bigger, better, faster ball player or anything like that. And so, you start yelling at them or start telling them to do what they're supposed to be doing, and they're like, oh, dang, and, start hanging their head and like, that's not the way that's supposed to work. That's not what the way that worked when I was a kid. Like, what the
Started getting
shit? What
teary
the
eyes and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, why are you crying? There's
Why
no
are you
crying in
crying, man?
baseball.
Nah, there's not crying.
Yeah. So it's like, it's really just trying to figure out that whole thing, Without diversity, there's definitely a weakness there. I agree.
Yeah. And hopefully, the generation rotates again here, for the next generation, and there starts getting a little bit more adversity in there, so these guys just kind of, can get that experience again. And by that time, flips, age group, hopefully a lot of them will be playing high school ball, and they'll be really good, at that, and hopefully there's good high school coaches over there.
Yeah, I think that a lot of these kids will stick together. I know that we'll probably have them all for another couple of years, and these kids are gonna, the couple of them are just gonna be massive. Uh, they're gonna be wild, wild good. But I think that I do disagree a little bit. I don't want there to be more diversity or more adversity, because that means that something happens. That means something bad happened, right? That means that the economy tanked or we went into another war and dads aren't home or something like that. I think trying to figure out different ways to channel them is is definitely kind of the approach that I'm taking.
Mhm.
And I don't know what other coaches are doing, but having that mixture of kind of old school, but um, kind of a new way of thinking too. I got told something funny when we went down to St. George by by Mama Cass. She goes, "You are too young to be thinking that old," and
Yeah.
just from just shit that you say and shit that you grew up with, and then you're trying to teach the kids, where you're like, "Well, that made sense when I was little. Maybe it'll make sense to them too." But it was kind of funny because here we are, trying to marry up that old thought process and that old way of doing things with a way that's going to get through to these kids that kind of have everything now. And I'm not saying that all kids are like that. There's definitely some kids, where we came from, that are going through a little bit more adversity and have to grind for it a little bit more. But just in our scope of things right now, this is like what we're dealing with, you know?
Yeah, and I think that that's a smart thing to do, though, is to think about ways to challenge them in different ways that they haven't been challenged before. That is going to kind of align with building character and not breaking them down at the same time, and just kind of figuring out that delicate balance. That's a challenge, but it's a good challenge. And if you were somebody that can do that and really kind of help it click in even one kid, even if it's not your, or even if it's your own, because
It's never your own.
that kid is a brick wall sometimes. And, um, but you infect one kid, and that kid's gonna remember that forever, and that's a
Yeah.
good thing. That's a positive thing.
Well, and like, this is like our men's mental health section, but we're talking a lot about the kids this time. And I think we're really talking about what we've kind of come around to is trying to build their confidence and build them up in a way that's going to later on affect them and impact them when it comes to their confidence and how they walk into a room and how they carry themselves. Because I think kids do, they emulate coaches, especially little boys, they will emulate, strong male characters.
Hmm.
And that's the dude they want to be. You watch the WWE growing up, like you wanted to be Hollywood Hogan, man, or Randy Savage, a whole Randall Savage. But like you wanted to be those dudes, or you watch baseball, you wanted to be the Tony Gwynns and the Mark McGuires, and
Oh yeah,
these
the Bash
the
Brothers, the
Bash brothers, yeah.
Canseco's, yeah,
Yeah, Canseco. Like you wanted
the
to be those
Griffies,
guys.
yeah, you did.
Yeah, the
And
Griffies, yeah.
and when you played backyard baseball, you were that guy. You were
Yeah.
that guy for that time,
Yeah.
and just holding just that guy's energy for just that little bit of time,
Right.
it made it all better,
Yeah,
and it
step
made
up
it,
to the plate as Griffey and like flip your hat backwards and act
yeah.
like you're taking BP or some shit,
But then the next time you got in the batter's box, at a game time, that feeling still kind of comes up like, dude, I had the confidence of Conseco, and I
Let's
was
do
jacking
this.
him. I was jacking him to Jory's house.
Yeah,
And
all right.
and it's like, why can't I do that in the game? All right, tap the plate. Let's go. Give me your best shot, big guy. Don't put it
Yeah.
don't put it in my wheelhouse because I'm gonna jack it like Conseco.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, and that's the thing too, is it's baseball specifically, because that's what we played. Uh Confidence with that sport specifically is fucking hard, because it's a game of failure. So you have to learn how to fail like all the fucking time,
Yeah,
and come
they
back and
do.
be like, fuck you, I'm shit hot. You know, like, I didn't strike
Shit,
out. Eat a dick. You didn't see shit.
look how dirty
You
my
know?
uniform is. Yeah,
Yeah, I slid in the outfield, bitch. I haven't even
right.
touched I haven't even touched the dirt today.
My mom's never gonna get that grass 10 out.
You just wait till I get on base, you know.
Right.
But and so building up these these boys, these soon to be young men, trying to build that confidence. I think it really kind of comes full circle, when it comes to men's mental health. I think, starting out with, being a good role model and stuff like that. And, we're not all perfect, but starting out trying to be a decent, role model and, staying out of trouble and, taking care of these kids and stuff like that, I think is really kind of the best we can do as far as, you know, trying to prepare them for when they get older and they have to walk into a room with confidence, or they're the CEO of a company one day, or they're fighting for a job like that one day and having the confidence to do so. Maybe they do look back on a baseball coach or something like that, or you know call one of their teachers or something. Just something like that. I don't know, just hopefully, at least for my mental health, we're doing something to build their confidence and kind of guide and foster them along.
Yeah, I think it's definitely true, and half of the battle is just showing up for them, showing up
Oh
for
yeah.
them, and knowing that them knowing that you're going to be there, and them knowing that you're going to teach them something new today, or help them out with something today, or get them out of their batting slump, or show them a new pitch or something like that. Just kind of getting them on the edge of their seat to be taught something, and to soak something in. I think is half the battle, because when you show up, you're there, and you're there 100%, and it teaches them also that this is your responsibility too, and this is your job, this is what you have to do. And if you say you're going to do this, and if you're going to be in this, you got to show up.
Oh
You got to
yeah.
show up for you too. You got
Yeah,
as
exactly.
the 9-year old, you got to show up, and you got to do your best, and that's what I'm expecting out of you. I think that in a lot of ways too, especially in jobs, and in just kind of motivating other coworkers, or if I've been in management or something like that, I've taken a lot of those lessons learned from baseball into those, situations, and really kind of used what I learned doing that kind of stuff as tools for motivation for my daily life. And I think the kids are going to remember that, and that's important.
Yeah, being able to mold those scenarios into the current situation that they're in. And
Hmm.
we were talking about confidence and helping people and things like that. And last night we kind of talked a little bit more about helping the community and donating stuff that you're not using to somebody else can use it. But I think that what we're talking about tonight is still really good, um if not better, because we're talking about volunteering still, and we're talking about trying to help that younger generation and help foster them through, so they can hopefully grow up to be, big, strong dudes that don't take shit from nobody, that are toxic, that, walk up and smack their woman's ass and, give give them a smooch when they get home,
Right.
so, are kind of toxic.
Yeah.
So, that's, I guess, what we can, what all we can really hope for.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about what ways you distress, they're de-stress rather.
De-stress.
Yeah.
De-stress.
Yeah.
Uh, I was talking to you today earlier, and we were supposed to have a little bit of chat this morning, and you had some things to do this morning, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, well, I'm gonna go on my urban trek." because I like the urban trekking.
Right.
And I was expecting a phone call while I was out there, but
Yeah, no, I'm a
I got other
terrible,
stuff to do.
terrible. Yeah, that's my bad.
Life
That,
happened.
that one's
Life
on me.
happened.
That's on me, guy.
I'm not. Yeah. But anyway, that's one of the things that I like to do the most to distress. I or de-stress. I uh I just find it's very calming, and I can kind of get my thoughts together. Plus, it gets the old heart pumping and moving, and wakes you up a little bit. You don't get the brain pain when you sit down to 30 emails. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier to go through those after you get that serotonin in you a little bit. And it was been nice. The sun was out today, and got some vitamin D on my face, and
Oh yeah.
you know.
Whose house did you stop at? Space cock.
Space cat.
This is brought to you by Space Cock.
New and improved.
Giving you your daily dose of vitamin D.
and, but it was really nice, and I
Sorry about that.
tried. No, it's good. I tried to do a little bit more. I tried to walk a little brisker today because I had a ton on my plate, but I still wanted to get in, the solid 3 miles. So yeah, I was trucking today, and I felt good. I even wore my sneakers, and a lot of times, like, I won't, I'll just wear normal shoes, or else I'll wear the hikers or something like that. But I wore my sneakers today to make sure that, I got after it. My feet were nice and comfy. But
That's
that
good,
was,
taking care of yourself.
yeah, I'm
You know.
trying. I'm getting
Yeah.
older.
Yeah. That makes
and
sense.
and
Gotta
the
protect them knees and hips.
yeah, and so that's kind of one of the things I like to do the most. I mean, obviously, I'd like to get on the trail, and get in the mountains more often. It's just hard with everything going on lately. It's been so damn busy. But when it warms up, I'll get in the hills and stuff, and start rocking that out a little bit more. But that's one of the biggest things that I do, and I really like to do that. It helps, kind of, you can gather your thoughts. I um, can kind of plan my day out, and it gives me a little bit of structure for the day, and I enjoy that. It really kind of helps set the mood and the tone and the mode for the day. I used to meditate. I meditated a lot for a long time, and I've got out of it just a little bit, and I need to get back into it. I do love to meditate. It's just kind of been, I don't know, for some reason it's just not something that I've dove super deep back into, but I need to, and it's a good practice, and maybe I'll start getting back into it, maybe a couple times a week, instead of trying to force myself to do it daily. You know, I think that might be a good start to get back into it. But I do like to meditate, and I like to pray while I meditate, and then just kind of get on a good kind of spiritual plane. You know what I mean? Try to connect the
Mhm.
mind and body, before
So
we
yeah, so yeah,
dive
I
into
mean,
the
the
day.
examples that you gave pretty much covered, the last 2 points of, ways to de-stress and then things that make you happy, right? Because it sounds like they're kind of, coincidentally the same, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's other things that you like to do that make you happy, but like I told you before, the whole meditation thing kind of blows my mind, and it's something that I've always been interested in, but something that, like, I've never been able to successfully do or accomplish.
Because you can't shut the mind off. You can't shut your mind off for
I
that
just
long.
just no, it's just kind of fucking terrifying. Uh, Being alone with myself and,
And
like,
your thoughts.
just oming, like, I don't know, it doesn't jive well. And it feels like, to me, it's like uh, a big vulnerability.
Mhm.
for whatever reason. I don't know. And it's always kind of been looked at as kind of like taboo.
Mhm.
But I know that it has, healing properties and, health benefits for sure. It's proven. It's not even uh, pseudoscience or anything anymore. It's been proven to have health benefits and everything. And studying the Eastern religions in college and everything, it makes a lot of sense. It really does. But I think leaving me in a room with me and my own thoughts, it seems super vulnerable, and I just don't think I can't accomplish it.
You know, when I first started getting into it, I was doing, because I didn't really know how to do it, but I knew that I wanted to do it. And I started listening to some guided meditations, and that kind of really helps get the wheels turning on just kind of what it takes to get in that state, between awake and asleep, and just being able to stay kind of in that middle state. And it is a little frightening at first, because like, yeah, you can't really sit in that state. And then there's been times too where I'm just like, yeah, I get there and then just go a little too far and it's just gone. You know what I mean? For like an hour. That's why I can't do it like in the
Yeah,
in the morning,
fuck
right
yeah.
when I wake up, because I'll just go right back to sleep. You know what I mean? It's just kind of my thing now. I've had a really hard time getting up and staying up. I'll wake up to my 5:30 alarm, but staying up, it's been rough lately.
Oh
you know.
yeah, yeah. I hear you there. It
Yeah.
seems like something with the time change, and them like firing up the Hadron Collider or something has just like wanted to just be glued to my pillow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it always seemed kind of touchy feely too,
As far as like
for
to
whatever reason.
like getting into your own feelers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fucking weird to me. I don't know. It feels like I'm like almost violating myself,
Just what, like,
like
is it
like in a
because
way that
like
I don't want to violate myself.
is it because like you think you're like, just is it a macho thing or a manly thing, like, or is it
Fuck,
or
I
is
don't
it
know.
just
Maybe.
or or
Fuck,
is
it
it
might
just
be. I
like,
don't know.
yeah, I don't know. It's
I'm
weird.
just like gay, like I don't
Right?
fucking know. Like, oh yeah, look at this guy
Yeah.
meditating.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's go look at Mr. Meditate over there.
Oh, look at this guy fucking over here in between sleep and awake. Fuck this guy.
Oh, your arms are floating now? Yeah, tell
Oh
me
yeah,
more
look at
about
you.
that,
Look
stupid.
out for you, Buddha. Yeah.
Yeah. All the jokes.
I have no good fucking reason, right? Other
Yeah,
than
that
just smart ass quips, which is
yeah.
just my my it's just my fallback, just my go-to. It's
Way
my
of
safety blanket.
yeah, exactly. I was gonna say it's your way of dealing with weird feelings.
Yeah, it's my way of like overconfiding my way out and making somebody else feel bad, even if it's my oming state.
Right.
Oh, look at you, big meditator. Look at you. Um, no, it's definitely something I've always been interested in, but I just can never really bring myself to fully commit and do it. I think, like we tried a few times in when I was studying those classes and everything. And like yeah, that was cool. But never really but it was guided and stuff like that. And so I don't know, like just kind of sitting in a room by myself listening to some guy on a fucking YouTube video. I don't know, kind of freaks me out. But
what's kind of weird that I didn't really that I just kind of thought was a load of shit until I started actually doing it, was the music. The music that they play for the
oh yeah,
meditation. It's like, wow,
like
man, this is,
440 hertz or
yeah,
whatever.
it's like you're really going over the top with this music here. But then when you start actually, yeah, dude, it's seriously, it's exactly it, dude. When you start hearing those frequencies, it's just kind of like, you just start,
Shit.
oh wow, this is
And
my
then
floating music.
ding.
Yeah, yeah. Or dude, like sometimes I'll listen to like waves crashing and stuff like that. So like you
Ah, the waves
you
get
go
me,
on a
dude.
fishing
I
trip
bet
with
you I
your
could
buddy.
fucking meditate on the beach, dude.
Yeah, dude. But then all of a sudden you're on a fishing trip with your buddies and you're drinking beers, and then all of a sudden, You're going out.
Don't worry about him. He's just meditating. He does that
He's
from time to time.
meditating. Just give him like 15 minutes. Don't touch him though. Don't touch him.
Yeah, don't even. If he gets a bite, just reel it in for him.
Yeah,
I think I could probably get down with it on the beach. I could really get inside myself. You know what I'm saying? Like on the beach,
you could really touch yourself.
Yeah, I could really touch me. You know, listen to some waves crash. I definitely had some good times on the beach, and for 4 years of my life, we lived on a beach.
Yeah.
Or close to the beach, So that was a really good time, and I think that I still to this day crave some ocean time, and like not necessarily like going and swimming and being a jackass, but just chilling by the freaking water, dude. Just kind of like listening to those waves crash up and stuff. Like that's definitely something I could do all day, because every chance I get to go to the ocean, dude, I go.
Well, something just about being that close to that big of a powerful source, of nature, dude. There's something about that's kind of really a draw. I really miss the ocean too. I haven't been to the ocean for years, but I do miss the ocean. We kind of get a little bit of that feel again when we go to the lake and stuff like that, but there's nothing like the ocean and just kind of the massive intensity that
just
that
the
is,
power of it, yeah.
Just the power, yeah.
Like I could sit on the fucking seawall for hours just staring at nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Like when we
ships rolling
at the boardwalk.
I just sit.
Yeah, when I was in San Diego, it was like last month. Fuck, time goes by really fast.
Oh yeah, you just went, huh? Yeah, it feels like you just went, but it was like a month ago.
Yeah, fuck me. We went down to the ocean almost every day. Just, I would pick a restaurant down there, so we go down there, just hang out and just watch those waves roll in,
Yeah.
But yeah, I could definitely. That's the biggest draw about California is I love the ocean, and I don't necessarily want to be in it all the time, swimming around like a jerk or going surfing and stuff like that. I like big boats. I'm down with that. I like swimming.
Yeah,
Swimming's cool.
Swimming's cool.
But yeah, I don't want to be out like body surfing and boogie boarding and shit like that all the time. Just chilling. I think that's like if I had a house on the beach or something, just chill outside like all the time.
So if you lived in
Hitting
San
that
Diego,
vitamin C.
Oh,
hey, sounds the same, spelled different.
You didn't even
Waves
have
crashing.
any zinnies yet, bro.
No, I don't.
So if you lived by the ocean, that would obviously kind of be one of the things that kind of make you happy and bring you back to, bring you back in. But what do you do? What do you do in your daily life? Because your daily life is pretty fucking crazy. I know that you're kind of stuck behind a desk for work for a majority of the day, but then with the kids and baseball and the dogs and all the other stuff, I know it gets crazy, and I know that there's not a lot of time for you to do anything like that except maybe enjoy a baseball game on TV for half an hour, maybe an hour.
That's about all it is. Hey, Dad, can we play Nintendo? Dad, can we do this? Fuck.
Right. The funny thing is I'm a little bit sad about it, but then I'm kind of not now, and maybe it makes me a bad dad. I don't know. I don't think I'm a bad dad, but I'm glad that the girls are past the stage of me needing to entertain them. They're at the age where they can entertain themselves and they don't need me to constantly be that source of entertainment, because that shit is taxing, man. It's rough. I mean, I love doing it, and I love, you know, just spending that time with them and connecting with them, that was all well and good, and that was great, and helped us form good relationships. However, it gets fucking taxing and it gets hard, and they're definitely an energy, energy draw out of you. You know what I mean? It draws a lot of energy out of you and kind of leaves you empty. And I think that I'm glad that mine are out of that stage where they just need constant entertainment from me. And I know you're going through that, like you're in the thick of it right now.
I don't know. I don't know if these two will ever grow out of that.
Yeah.
And a couple of times, like they've hit me with the "you never even play with this, Dad." I'm like, "Oh, what?"
Dude.
I'm like, "You want to get wrestled right now?" Because that's a good way to get wrestled right now.
It's just like,
But they're
dude, I
like,
just
"You never
whooped you
play. You never
33
play."
to nothing in MLB 2K. What are you talking about?
Right? Yeah. What do you want from me, guy? I just took you yard out back. Um, or I just wrestled with you for like 2 hours, like telling you no for like 2 hours that I don't want to wrestle and still beat your ass. Like, is that not playing? They're like, "Oh, we want to play like a board game or something." Like, I don't. That's lame. Let's
Go play
go
it
practice
then.
falling down or something.
No one's stopping
Yeah,
you. I just don't
but
want to
that's
be
like,
involved.
yeah, like I don't want to play Monopoly for 6 hours. Like, and the thing is like that whole thing, it totally guts you. Dad, you never play with me. I'm like, "Fuck, what?" Like we do stuff all the time.
Well, like, yeah. Well, I'm your
I was like,
dad. It,
I
like,
played video games with you. That doesn't count. I'm like, we just got back from baseball practice. Well, that doesn't really count either. That wasn't just with me. That was with everybody. Like, well, what?
what do you want from me?
Yeah, but you're right. Like, I get to sit down for like a half an hour and like watch baseball. Or so like, Dad, why are you asleep all the time? I'm like, well, because this is the only chance I get to sleep. You know,
Because my life is very tiring.
because you guys are my life, and I have to go back to work after this.
Right.
But yeah, it's and they're very understanding too when it comes to that type of stuff. But yeah, I don't really have between my day job and then Bearded Viking and the car club and stuff like that. I don't really have. I have a lot of time for everybody else and what everybody else is doing and needing, and not a lot of time that I do anything. And I don't really know what I would do anyway.
I know what you do.
Sleep?
Smoke meat and day drink.
It's very stressful though. It's
Dude,
very
smoking
stressful.
meat, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
very
is
stressful
it does
because
get very
if I
stressful.
fuck it up, then we got to get a bag of burgers from somewhere, and we're fucked. Everybody just came out to the house for no reason. Good news is I'm drunk. Bad news is I can't even go buy the fucking bag of burgers because I'm
Gotta send somebody else.
yeah. 'Cause I'm like, dude, yeah. Uh, but I don't. That's fun, and generally it turns out, or we can make some kind of magic happen when it comes to cooking food. And I really do like having everybody over and everything like that, but just doing something like solo, I don't really have like a solo thing
Like a solo,
that
yeah.
that I could do. I know uh last year I had a really fucking awesome time with me. I was a real good time gal. Um, I was in the weirdest place ever. I was in fucking Manchester, New Hampshire,
Really?
and they had the River Cats is the farm club
Oh,
for
that
it's a
AAA.
AAA team
Mm-hmm.
for the Blue Jays.
Oh, okay.
So I went to the game just by myself, and I didn't have anything to do, right? So I went to the game because I knew that I had to go and get Blue Jays gear for for Sam and then Justine and Conrad, and he's my guy because he's like, screw the Blue Jays, I'm a Braves fan, Dad. I was like, you
Nice.
got that right.
Nice.
You got
Got
your pick
somebody
of
on the
whatever car
squad.
you want. Um,
Right.
no, but I just sat down, got like the biggest beer I could, and just ate a hot dog and drank a beer, and watched
Nice.
a baseball game, and just heckled the umpire by myself.
Like, did you gonna sit behind home plate?
Yeah, dude, I
and
sat
just
behind home plate. It
chewing
was
his
just
ear
talking
out.
shit, just getting drunk by myself. I was like in walking distance of my hotel, which actually
That's
kind of worked out.
fantastic. Yeah, that works out
Manchester's
great.
not huge, right? And then they sold whiskey there. They had like High West whiskey, so I like
Oh,
switched over to like,
nice.
double rye and large beer.
Yeah.
And yeah, just sitting there like eating hot dogs and drinking beer and whiskey and heckling an umpire. So that was fun. That was like a cool solo mission. But I don't generally go on like solo missions or anything because I just don't have time.
I
Or I'm
rarely go
getting
on
pulled in
so
too many directions.
right. I mean, you get to do those kind of things when you go out of town for work, which that's kind of cool, and get to see different places like that that you normally wouldn't even think to do, you know. Um, I don't do the solo thing very often. Like the solo movie, like going to a movie, like a few weeks ago,
I don't
you
know. That's
know.
kind of weird. That's kind of
Yeah,
creepy.
the old
I
man.
don't know
It's
if I
like
could do like the
it's like
solo movie.
Saturday and it's kind of rainy, so there's no you can't really do yard work or whatever. And the old man like grabs his keys and shit, and he's like, well, I'm out of here. I'm like, where the fuck you going? Yeah, you did Costco yesterday. Like, hey, where are you going? He's like, I'm gonna go find a movie. Like a movie? All right. Have a blast,
Yeah,
dude. Do it.
yeah.
But it was kind of
Fair
it
enough.
was kind of
Get
it
it.
was
Get
kind
a
of
double
weird.
feature matinee, my guy.
Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard. And like, all right, well, get some
It's
popcorn.
not a
You
bad
know?
idea. I think I would feel weird about a movie, but yeah, I even when I went to San Diego, I did a solo mission. Come to think of it, and that was cool. I wish I didn't have to go to work the next day, uh, but it ended up being cool. And I talked a little bit about this a few podcasts ago, uh, where I was talking to I just met like the random sailor.
Mm-hmm.
I found a cigar bar and like walked like 14 fucking blocks to this place. So my fat ass is sweating, right? And went, sat down, and they had Guinness on tap. So I ordered a Guinness
Oh, nice.
and went back to the humidor and grabbed a stogie and fired it up and just sat there and bullshitted with this guy. And, he decided he was going to tell me his whole life story and shit, which is cool. Like, I
That's
didn't
super
mind.
cool.
Like,
Yeah.
it's cool, dude. And, it was time for me to go because I was either going to fucking cross the goddamn international date line and get hammered and spend another $100 on cigars, or I was going to go back to my room and wake up for work in the morning, right? So, so I was like, oh, decisions have to be
That's
made.
a hard coin to flip.
Being an adult, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, the kid had been there for longer than me, and he'd racked himself up a tab and stuff. So I paid his tab and walked out. Didn't care.
Mhm.
But it was just like, you know what? I got a little bit of hangout time by myself. I got a nice little walk back, grabbed a stogie for the walk back. So,
Oh,
you
cool.
know, walked back the 14 blocks or whatever the hell it was to, my hotel. In San Diego, you can do that, right? Because San
Yeah.
Diego it's definitely one of the safer cities.
Yeah.
And parts of it can be sketchy, but where I was, not so much. And I have a benefit of looking the way I look. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
are we really gonna roll the dice with this fucking guy? Or are we just
your
gonna
your average assailant
keep on moving? Yeah, yeah,
isn't gonna
yeah. I'm
target
gonna
you.
reverse rob them. I'm gonna
Yeah,
reverse
right.
rob them. They're gonna give me all their money.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, it was just it was cool. So I guess maybe I get like I get a serotonin bump from maybe just going out on a solo mission and hanging out with myself because I don't really hang out with myself very much. And as kind of weird as that sounds and like touchy feely, maybe that's my happy place is just hanging out by myself every once in a while. and going and doing something like that, but I met a cool dude, and he had a cool story, and he'd been in the Navy for like 14 years, and was trying to figure out whether he was going to keep going or whether he was going to hang it up, and he didn't like where things were, with the military and the way it was going, because he was kind of getting, wussified and stuff. And I totally get it. Totally,
Yeah.
totally understood and received his story. It was a nice little timeout.
Yeah. Well,
So
and any way you can find a way to recharge, I think is a good way. And just even coming to that recognition right now that
yeah,
having a little bit of you time is really kind of the way the things that makes you happy and helps you recharge. I think that's a good thing.
well, and sometimes it just seems selfish, right? To just be like, peace, have fun with the kids. I'm gonna go
I
fuck
know.
off. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think maybe that I don't really do that when I'm here because it feels selfish.
Mhm.
But if I'm away for work or something like that,
It's
it
easy to do.
yeah, I'm not neglecting any kind of anything or any kind of duties or things that I'm supposed to be doing. Uh, so maybe it's just a little bit easier because I don't remember a time when I was just like, peace out, I'm gone. You know, like I've taken a drive around here, but not really done anything.
Yeah. And then even over these past few months too, everybody's kind of been hit and miss on club night, or and so that's kind of been off, and it's kind of been odd, but life gets in the way. Family comes first always with the club, and so the doing family stuff kind of pulls people in different directions, which as we're getting older, I think we're more sympathetic to that than when we first started. But I think that
Yeah,
kind of recognizing that and making that a priority is really kind of a good thing that we do now. So you don't get that time, you know what I mean? Sometimes, over,
yeah,
going out and hanging with the boys and having that 25-minute drive into town, sometimes
yeah. And
is all
sometimes
you
that,
need to just kind of,
yeah,
yeah, get the wind
that
blowing
was a
through your
good,
beard and having a
yeah.
good time with that.
That is
Yeah.
a good drive for sure. I think that I might have missed that drive more than maybe I thought, or maybe even I knew. You know what I mean? Um, and I missed that a lot too. I think because of uh not having the Nova. I think, and having the Challenger because it wasn't as reliable. I didn't feel like I could take it that far, and then the vet was broken for a long time, and then the vet got back up and running and was good to go. Um, kind of middle of the summer, but the summer just last year just seemed like it collapsed because there just was too much to do and not enough time.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think that because the Nova is kind of like the Nova and the Vet, they're not solar powered. They can drive in the rain, snow, sleet, and hail. And usually if it's raining, it didn't really matter. I'd take the cars because they both do well.
Yeah, they don't melt.
Yeah, they don't melt. Windshield wipers and the heaters work.
Hmm.
And so I definitely missed out on that a little bit because that's a great fall time cruise or springtime cruise. That first couple of car shows that you do in the spring are freaking money.
They are always the best. Yeah. They're always the best. I mean, just reconnecting with the people again, and just getting the car out and stretching her out a little bit is always just
Oh yeah, so
it's
much fun.
yeah it's
It's definitely a good way to recharge and kind of get a little relaxation in. Um, but gotten fucking really busy. That
really
shit
busy.
sucks. Like
Yeah,
really busy.
super busy. I didn't think I would be this busy. at this age. I mean,
Right.
in a sense, I'm glad I am because I'm not
Supposed to be
just
cooling down a little bit.
yeah, exactly. I thought it would be kind of coasting a little bit, but no,
Right.
it's just getting busier and busier, which hopefully that's gonna make, the next 10 years or even 20 years
It's like, hey, I
very
need,
very
need you to
coasty.
chill the fuck out. Yeah. You
Yeah.
need to chill the fuck out right now.
That's what we're staying busy now so we can just coast.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. So,
Would you like to
would you
would
like
you like to
to
take a
take a
break?
break?
And
Would you like to take a break and we can come back and jump right into some conspiracy corner?
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Don't let the sleek, sexy exterior fool you. Not all beauty, folks. Some brains up here. Know some shit.
Got a strong noodle.
You gotta watch out. Oh, he cracked into the chili millies. It's on now.
Yeah.
It must be time for Conspiracy Corner.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's get it.
Let's get it. What do you got there? I saw the agenda and there's some fun stuff. I didn't do any further looking into it than what I did yesterday. Um, but yeah, let's dive in. This is your realm here.
So I figured as much that you weren't gonna do, a ton more research than we did last
Well,
night.
there wasn't a ton to do on it, so
I mean,
I
this
was
the theory specifically, no, but the lakes, yes.
yes, yeah, you're right, you're right.
So the theory goes is that they, as in, the powers that be, NWO, whoever the fuck, the Rockefellers, everybody that gets blamed for everything, those
Hmm.
fucking assholes,
Yeah,
that they're covering up history.
that's behind
And
the guy.
yeah, they're covering up history, and they're covering up timelines with water. And more specifically, lake water and man-made lakes. So there's this cat that he does like TikTok and Instagram videos and stuff, and then I've seen some other videos about it as well, where basically saying that most, if not all, the man-made lakes in the U.S. actually are covering up historical things and things that would really kind of put a dent in the timeline that's been created by the Smithsonian and the people that write the history books.
Okay.
So just kind of using like Lake Lenoir in Georgia, using Lake Powell in the West as case studies. And I mean, there's a whole Wikipedia page dedicated to towns that are covered up by lakes.
I saw some of that. Yeah, the towns that were covered up by lakes and were deliberately flooded. And but there wasn't really any clear reason why, and so this may kind of shed a little bit of light on that, on those reasons.
Yeah, well, and I think specifically if you look at Lake Powell, there's there when it got really really low a couple of years ago, they started finding all kinds of artifacts that hadn't been seen since before 1962 when it became a lake. When they dammed up the Boulder Dam, or what is it? Yeah, I think it's Boulder Dam. When they dammed it up and created a Lake Powell out of it, there was Indian ruins and all kinds of stuff like that out there. And it's 1962, 63 when they build this dam. So, I mean, people aren't exactly packing up their freaking station wagons and heading out into the middle of the desert to go digging for Indian artifacts, right? Because it wasn't really on tribal land, but it wasn't really off tribal land at that point. And then when they built the lake, they were like, fuck you, yet again. and the native people to the area didn't really have a say in it, even though it was their history that was being swallowed by the lake. And we're not talking about these wild, crashing waves and stuff that are going to come in here and destroy it. But over time, I mean, the water's going to eat away the rock and erode it, so that history isn't going to be there. Now, I think that they may have gotten scared because the lake was getting so low. These things were starting to come out, and people were starting to see this stuff and go out and explore these parts of the lake. Well, now the lake is filling back up again. Now we're starting to get all kinds of rain and snow and stuff all over again. And so it begs the question, what the fuck is in those ruins? What kind of technology was it? What kind of civilization was it? And how much is it going to fuck up their timeline?
Do you think that it is? Do you think it's ancient, or do you think it's like how ancient do you think it is? Like maybe few hundred years, or do you think a few thousand years?
I think it's probably like in that like 5 to 6 thousand year old, you
Mm.
know, those people that were here. Just it because that would totally ruin their timeline of the American Indian and basically their whole their whole uh history of them, right? And like these cultures, I think, if you sit down with them, their cultures go back forever. It's not like they just showed up a couple hundred years ago and and they met the white man when he first came west, trying to settle the lands, and then they met John Wayne, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't so cut and dry.
Well, and their history is literally written on the wall. You know what I mean? In the
Mhm.
petroglyphs and everything like that on there. And I think there's still some that haven't even been found, you know, and haven't
Oh
even
yeah.
been looked at yet.
Well, I mean, if there's parts of the Grand Canyon that you can't go into, and then you can't go into
Yeah.
these ruins down in Lake Powell now because they're at the bottom of hundreds and hundreds of feet, if not thousands of feet in some areas of water.
Hmm.
I mean, you can't dive it, and if you could dive it, it's so dark you can't see anything. Um, so I mean, there was, I've read stuff from like the 30s where it's talking about they have obelisks and stuff like that that are under the water. And it would make sense if a bunch of people went out there to the desert and started seeing this shit and writing articles about it. Like, oh crap, uh, let's dam up the Colorado. And I'm sure that it was a money grab too,
Yeah.
because water's power, and it was able to legitimately create power, and it established Utah as having the power of, hey, we can just stop the flow to Las Vegas and Arizona. Like, we fuck you guys. Like, this is our water now. We're the
Yeah.
captain. So it definitely was probably a money grab, but I think there's more to it than that.
So
And
do you?
then,
Oh, go ahead, sir.
oh, go ahead.
I did. I've seen stories and stuff about how people claim to have seen uh, UFOs or UAPs or whatever, um, you're diving into lakes or coming out of lakes. Do you think that that kind of has something to do with it? Do you think that maybe they're hiding, you know, underwater bases or even underground bases that is under the water, um, or something like that?
I mean, it wouldn't really surprise me because
Excuse me. There's been tons
the
of claims of that,
well, I mean, Dugway literally owns the land from over the Great Salt Lake and up to Hill Air Force Base, all the way down to St. George.
Oh wow, I didn't know
So
that they owned all
it's a
that.
huge swath of land. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's really no telling what's under there. And the only way to tell would be to drain it, right? And in 2017 and 2018, when um, that drought was starting to happen, there was a bunch of people saying just drain it. It's not doing a whole bunch anyway. And
The Great Salt Lake, you mean?
no, the
Or what?
the Lake Powell.
Oh, pal. Okay.
Lake Powell. And especially with what Wyoming's doing with these mini nukes. And it's a new nuclear power plant, and it's a smaller scale nuclear power plant where it doesn't take as much cooling and water and everything like that. That's being built just the other side of Evanston, with a couple more of those with that one and the one or two other ones that they're planning to build. There's really no need for the hydroelectric power that Lake Powell produces.
Power, yeah.
Because it's not being used really as it goes downstream. I guess it's being used as drinking water, but it's not necessarily doing anything for Utah in drinking water. So if we were to just open up the gates and let the water flow through, there would be really no huge repercussions other than, the houseboats would have to find somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
But, and then, people would go out there and find out what's really there and what's really under that water. That there's got to be some kind of fucking lake monster under there too. That's a big body of water.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see because that's exactly what I was going to say. That's a huge body of water, and for it to be so deep in some areas, I mean, you're figuring that's a couple thousand feet drop in elevation. If you're talking about a couple thousand feet deep in a couple places in that lake.
It's 27 million acre feet of water, and it's 560 feet deep at the dam.
Oh, wow.
So the deepest part of Lake Powell is the dam, and it's 560 feet deep.
560 feet.
So,
but still, that's a pretty big dip in elevation.
500 feet, that's huge.
Yeah,
that's enough to make your ears pop.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. To make your ears pop on a road trip.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that's a pretty big dip, that's the difference between a nosebleed and having to pop a Viagra when you're hiking a freaking mountain. So just to keep the blood flowing. So that's a trick that not many people know.
Thank you, Marine Corps.
Hey, you get a Viagra's. No, but yeah, so it's an interesting thought, right? And then across the nation, if you use Lake Lenoir as a case study for the other, the flip side of it is they buried a town with this lake, okay? And since 1953 or 56, 700 people have drowned or gone missing in that lake.
That is a crazy statistic. Like that's insane.
And it's built over a town.
So were those? Did you see whether those are like recreational deaths or diving deaths, or they just came up fucking missing and then washed up on the shore deaths, or what?
Like so many of it is like, oh, he was swimming, he was just fine, and then we turned around and turned back and he's gone. Yeah. Or hey, he jumped off the back of the boat to take a leak and gone. Like something is pulling them down.
Yeah, something's pulling them down.
And if you the history of the town that they buried with it is Oscarville. So Oscarville is in Forsyth County, right? So it's basically where the lake covers, and it was a predominantly black town. And so there's so many scenarios where violent crimes and, racially motivated things happened in the 40s and 50s. I mean, this town goes back to 1912. And then, there's all kinds of recorded deaths. There was black landowners, which didn't sit right with the white guys, and then the clashes of it says 1912 and all the way to 1917, and then just all kinds of other racial tensions and things like that. And then they decided that they were just going to bury this town,
Bury the town.
kick everybody out, and Lake Lenore comes up.
Do you think that it is kind of tethered to one of the ideas that we were talking about last week, with just that negative energy in that area? Do you think that kind of has something to contribute?
I think with this one, it definitely does. I mean, they tried to bury the town to bury the history, right? So unless you go back and you're a retard like us, and you go back and look and see what's underneath these lakes, right? Because I bet you the majority of the people that go to this lake don't even know there was a town underneath it.
Oh yeah,
and a town with that kind of bad energy and bad things that happen there.
Just
and then
negativity surrounding the whole area.
Yeah, and like how water soaks up energy, and
oh God,
this water's it's living water. It's not stagnant. It's moving, and there's a scientific difference between it's called dead water and live water, and you can actually see it under a microscope the difference between the waters.
Like in the molecules.
Yeah, and so I mean you have a lake that's has a constant flow into it, so it's living water, so it's got to be absorbing that energy, and if that is predominantly bad, then yeah, it makes sense. 700 people, maybe more, just go missing, and since 1956, that's a lot of fucking people dead.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would stay the fuck away from that lake.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm not going into it. I'm not even walking off the beach to take a piss. You know what I mean?
A couple kids drowned in the Jordan River when I was young, and I don't get too close to that motherfucker. Some guys will go down and fish off the shore and catch carp and shit. It's like, no, I ain't going down there, man. Fuck that shit.
That is bad news bears.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. People die in lakes for sure. I mean, it happens.
Yeah. But in what, a span of 60 years, that's like 100 people. 10 people a year for 60 years?
More.
Or more? Yeah, it's more than 10 people a year for 60 years.
So 1963 is when Lake Powell was created. They started filling it in 1962, so about less than 10 years later, this one was built.
This one was built, yeah.
Yeah. So 56 and then 62 is when they started filling Lake Powell. There's been 386 fatalities at Lake Powell versus 700 and that other lake. And it looks like Lake Powell is bigger, and 282 were classified as accidental and 80 were natural deaths. Like,
well, I don't know about Lake Lenore, but I know that Powell is huge. It's used like crazy for recreation.
Yeah, so is Lake Lenore. It's massive. And then there's a whole bunch of signs and shit that are there that say, like, don't swim without a life jacket, don't do this, don't do that, like, no sex after 12, no drugs off butts. Like, it's
yeah, it's very
it's very it's very interactive signs about what not to do. But yeah, so the death rate is significantly less at Lake Powell, and I mean 80 of those 386 deaths were like people croaking out on a lifeboat of a heart attack or a stroke or something. They were classified as natural deaths, not
natural deaths,
accidental or got chopped up by a prop.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about water carrying energy and and things like that. I definitely think covering up a town with a bad past is probably not the way to go.
Yeah.
Uh, and they definitely covered up a significant amount of history with it. And
Well,
I mean,
my thought is like I wonder what was so bad and what that because it had to come down to like probably one thing or maybe two real kind of big events that they just wanted to get rid of. And by
right.
doing that, I wonder what those events were. I wonder if because I couldn't imagine them doing that over a land purchase struggle or something like that. Um, but maybe again, and I hate to say this, but maybe it was an attempt at eradication. You know what I mean?
Well, they kicked him out of there.
Yeah.
They kicked him out of their own town. Um, so like if you look at Lake Tahoe, they found bodies in Tahoe, which is a totally different story. They're completely uh, not decomposed. They look exactly the way they did when they, got cement shoes and got sent down to the bottom of it by the mob
Yeah,
because the
that's
lake is
crazy.
so deep and so cold.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a refrigerator. But so that one's kind of out on the whole
Coastal
on the whole
preservation.
theory thing. But there's a lot out there. I mean, there's one here in Utah that covers two towns, which is Jordanelle. And every time I put my boat on Jordanelle, it's a little bit creepy.
Dude, Jordanelle just is creepy in general
And it's
to
like
me.
it's a wide open lake. Like
Hmm.
there should be nothing creepy about it, but it just kind of like I don't like to be the guy that falls down on the wakeboard in that lake.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I kind of get the heebie-jeebies a little bit.
I do not like tubing in that lake or anything else, or even going off the boat to take a piss. It creeps me out in that lake.
Yeah,
That
and
lake's always creeped me out. Even since I was little, we used to go fishing up there, every now and again, and you know that lake always creeped me out. It always felt like someone was watching you at that lake.
yeah, and it's a coal ghost town. One of them is a coal ghost town.
Oh, that makes a
So
lot of sense.
yeah, I mean it was a mining, ranching, logging city. So just outside of Heber. So I don't know. It's still kind of weird, man.
Yeah.
Still super weird. And there's uh two places that were flooded by that lake specifically. So I don't know. Kind of freaks me out. That lake has always kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. How you said that water carries energy. That's always kind of fascinated me. And I was listening to that. Um, I was listening to that Sean Ryan again with what's his name,
Oh,
Billy
Carson.
what? Yeah, Billy Carson.
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to because I've listened to it a couple times. The last time or last time I was listening to it, I basically stopped it right before the part where he was talking about how we're all made up of atoms. Everything's made up of atoms, and he was talking about the chair and all that. And therefore, we're all connected. And so in that sense too, we're connected with the earth and the water and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And for it to be able to be quote unquote alive and kind of a living organism, um, really kind of creeps me out. You know what I mean? It,
Well, it
it
has to
creeps me
have
out,
some kind
and
of consciousness.
yeah, exactly.
Like our consciousness creates consciousness, right?
Yeah, so it creeps me out and it fascinates me at the same time. But then it being a conscious living organism, but then being a house for all the life that lives in it is pretty wild to me.
Yeah, like you should be able to just like walk right through the wall because it's not
Right.
really there. It's
Yeah.
it's like a construct of your own mind.
Yeah.
So I just figured out why it's creepy.
Why is
Are
that?
you are you ready for this?
I don't know.
So Keatley was a agricultural colony during World War II, which means it was a Japanese American relocation camp
Oh,
during World War
really?
II. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that whole thing doesn't really jive well with me because it's essentially just a concentration camp because you were Japanese.
Yeah. I don't like that at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like rounding Jews up and throwing them in a concentration camp in Germany, except for, you know, we didn't gas the Japanese.
Yeah,
They,
yes,
they
Japanese.
gassed the
Yeah.
Jews. But, I mean, I'm a step away, you know.
Wow.
Let's lock them up for something they didn't do. Let's round them up. They can't go into their houses or anything like that because they're going to hang out in this camp that we built them, a work camp that we built them until the war's over.
Land of the free, home of the brave.
Yeah, as long as you're
Yes.
the right color at the right time,
Exactly.
that works out.
Wow.
Yeah, so this kind of took a turn for World War II history and the shit that they are covering up with lakes. So I think it furthers that theory. Maybe it's not all uh, hidden technology and breaking up the timeline, the timeline of the past, but it's flooding the history and covering up the history of what was under these places or what these places were, and you know, essentially getting rid of them. Now it's just places to build $1 million condos around and to recreate on.
Do you, I bet you too, if you look into that, I bet that if if it's not has been eliminated from history books already, I bet that it is being slowly dissolved out of the history books, especially elementary and junior high. I
Oh
think
yeah, there's no
that's kind of
way.
when I think it was junior high when we started learning a little bit about World War II. Um, but those things are our generation of kids that we have are not gonna know about this kind of stuff.
No, and nor would they know to look, right?
Yeah,
Uh, and with stuff like this, it's super, it's fragile, right? And let's see, this is probably one, two, three, four, so 50, 100, 200 words, 200 words about this agricultural colony. That's it.
wow.
That's the only that's the only record of it right now on, and I don't usually use Wikipedia or give Wikipedia any kind of
Credit.
kudos because they
Yeah.
usually shitbag everything because it's just some dickhead usually in his mom's basement writing dumb shit. But in this case, it checks out. There's references and everything, but I mean, 200 words about this colony
Wow.
is all I'm saying. Like, even if I take it and just put it into the googly, let's see if anything even comes up. Yeah, it does. Japanese agricultural colony, Utah.gov. But how the fuck would you know to even look for Keatley
Yeah.
agricultural colony? Or, you know, if you didn't know about the Japanese, agricultural or internment camps during World War II, you wouldn't know what to look up.
Well,
So
I
that's
wonder.
history that could die with us.
Yeah, I wonder how long was Keatley a township or a agricultural
It looks like from the beginning of the war until the end, or towards the end. Um, because I think towards the end we started to realize that hey, they're not gonna turn on us because a lot of the Japanese Americans actually wanted to fight with us,
mhm,
fight for their country because the United States was home. They were just of Japanese descent.
right.
It's just like the whole thing that kind of blows my mind, and then I know it's like it's it's not a popular opinion of, calling somebody African American, because it's like, no, dude, you're just American.
You're just American.
Or Mexican American, you're just American, dude. Like, yeah, you might be American of African descent, or you might be American of Mexican or Latino descent, or American of Japanese descent, but bitch, you never lived in Africa. Like, the only person that should be able to claim, Mexican American or African American or whatever is if you are like first of your family coming
First
over.
gen. Yeah.
Yeah.
First gen. Yeah.
That's what makes sense to me. Maybe I'm simple minded. For this case, getting back to it, it's kind of fucked up. Well, it's really fucked up, and all because of Pearl Harbor, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't German American agricultural camps.
Yeah, no.
Or anything like that.
There was not.
Yeah, we adopted a bunch of those fucking Operation Paperclip motherfuckers after the war, and they helped us go to the moon, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that the lake thing was a trip, and I think it seems to me like a lot of these lakes are still alive, and
Yeah.
they're doing stuff.
What would be cool is what's that guy, Expedition Unknown? That guy who does
Josh
all that
Gates.
stuff. Dude, I love Josh Gates, and
Dude, he's the coolest.
it'd be super cool, like if he did a thing on it, and just tried to dig up that history, or lost and buried history, or in this case, drowned history, flooded
Right?
history.
Flooded history, exactly. There's that show, Drain the Oceans, and
Oh
it's pretty
yeah,
cool. I've seen that a
yeah.
few
I
times, and
started
there's
to
some
watch
cool
that,
ones.
but I haven't got super deep into that story.
So I think we've pretty much wrapped this topic up of,
Well,
yes, they are trying to cover shit up with the water.
well, I was gonna say, speaking of floods, that's a pretty good segue into uh the quote unquote upcoming apocalypse.
Yeah.
I I saw a thing on it today that this woman kind of had me a little freaked out a little bit. Um, but I don't know. I'm not gonna get too freaked out about it. I think and then I saw some opposing stuff about it today that kind of set my mind at ease. So I'm not super freaked out about it, but I know that there are people that are freaking out about it. Um, what's kind of ironic to me, though, for as many people that are kind of freaking out about it, they haven't emptied the shelves of Costco yet.
Well, here it's going to be little of no impact, right? As far as, Utah goes. And it's hard for me to discern whether the freak out is going to be because there's so many people rushing into these parts of America that are going to see the entire solar eclipse, where the sun is actually going to be entirely eclipsed, where Utah, we're going to get like three quarters, a little under three quarters, full, right? At its peak. And I think that's supposed to be around like 10 o'clock or something like that. And it's annular. That's what it is. That's what it's called. Super fun word, spelled fun too. But I think that maybe the National Guard thing, and calling for a national emergency and saying, hey, the cell signal is going to go out and the internet's going to go down, is because of the influx of people that are going to be just bombarding those areas.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably what's going to make it the apocalypse.
Crash the systems in those areas.
Yeah, just because of they're not designed to carry that big of a load. some would
Well,
say.
so what this lady was saying, and maybe you have heard something about this or not, but you hadn't mentioned it. But what she was saying was that it's not actually the moon that's going to be covering the sun. It's another planet whose orbit is going to make that path. And apparently, this quote unquote other planet is very Earth-like. Like
Planet X.
it has a magma core. It is supposed to have, you know, H2O, or all the building blocks of life, quote unquote. And I guess this is once in a 3,000 year occurrence or something like that.
Hmm.
So as 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 this as this planet enters kind of our wheelhouse, um, they think that the magnetic pores are going to they're afraid of how the magnetic pores are going to react to each other.
Yeah, it's Nibiru.
Nibiru, is that what it is?
Yeah, at Planet X or Nibiru.
Okay, yeah.
But so the only thing that doesn't jive with that to me is that mathematically it would have to be the it would have to be bigger than the moon, or it would have to be bigger than Earth at a perfect mathematical distance between the Earth and Sun for that to work. And that it would have to be going way fucking faster than a planet of that size would. And with it being that far away, that to me, like being the retard that I am, that math just doesn't jive.
Doesn't work out.
Because we would have seen the planet and you know all these like amateur astrology guys uh and like astrometric guys that get the telescopes out and look at the sky and stars every night would have seen this planet coming
A long
from
time ago, right?
way off because
Yeah, from years and years and years, right?
yeah. So I think that the possibility of a planet X being out there, or a planet that's like Earth, um it would be, I'm not saying that it's out of the realm of possibility, but I feel like even if it has a really retarded, fucked up orbit, that mathematically, like, because even the moon, where the moon is at, mathematically makes 0 sense. Like, it seems more like that was towed into place.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's the exact size and mathematically the perfect distance away from Earth, in between the Earth and the sun, for eclipses to even fully happen, but close enough to have a gravitational pull on the water. That
Yeah, it definitely seems manufactured, not, you know.
so
And then you have those theories where they were like they take a rock or whatever and hit the surface, and it
they
sounded
dropped
all
the
like,
lander on it. They dropped
yeah,
that's they disconnected from the lander, and they said it rang like a bell for like an
yeah,
hour.
rang like a bell. Yeah, that that's that's weird. But then again, at the same time too, and that was the first Apollo mission, right?
No, no, it was I was the second or third time we went to the moon. I'd have to look up which Apollo it was, but yeah, I mean the astronauts have been on record saying that. And there was a movie out there too, not uh Moon Skyfall, Moonfall, something like that. Gerard Butler was in it, and it talked about like a hollow moon theory, and it actually ended up being like a really cool movie and thought provoking. But it had to do with the moon being this gigantic base that was put there to keep us safe from asshole alien invaders and shit like that, which is kind of far out, but it's super cool.
That thing.
Yeah, like I'd watch it again. But yeah, as far as the Planet X Nibiru thing goes, I it might be out there. It might be in a really fucked up orbit. But
My thought is on that too. If it's so Earth-like, you all the math has to be in place for it to even be Earth-like. So if it's got that fucked up of an orbit, what star is it orbiting, and um and how can it keep those attributes if it's just kind of floating out in space and it's not close enough to its star? Because obviously, if it's got that kind of fucked up orbit, is it orbiting the sun? Is the sun its star? Is our sun its star? And don't you think when it got that far away from it, it would just freeze?
well, that's my thought would be is like if it's in like this really jacked up 3,000-year orbit and or whatever, and like there was some people that had a theory that that's why our poles shifted, our magnetic north shifted, because you can see um, the rocks, the way the magnetite and the magnetic properties in the rocks switch over time, and then like it kind of like went here, and then just overnight it seemed like it just went up, and so they were saying that that electromagnetic between those two planets helped the poles just flip and everything, and then it was like hi bye, and then it was gone, and it was stuck out there for a while. And then there's other people that say it's like on the exact perfect opposite orbit as us. So as we're going around, it's going around. So we can never really see it.
So
We
can
would have
never
to
see
try
it
and fly into the sun and shoot past the sun to get to it.
to get to it. Oh,
So
right.
it's like bizarro Earth, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if it's out there. It to me it seems like it would have to be on the perfect exact opposite rotation as us and in orbit if we're in fact orbiting, right?
Mhm.
If it's all the way they taught us in school, which is who fucking knows. And I don't have a spaceship, so I can't really go and verify or not.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if it is, there's a Nibiru or Planet X, it seems like it would be the exact opposite of us. So, the microphone's the sun, we're here, it's here, and we're just,
Yeah,
we're just passing each other.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
Um, you know what would be crazy is if that's kind of where these other quote unquote sentient beings exist, and
They're just
they
like idiots. They just have to shoot a rocket this way and they'll catch us. Idiots.
are just like just on the tail end like of us, you know what I mean? Just shoot it backwards and
Yeah.
just let it come back around, you know? I mean, they're coming, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're right
I
behind
mean,
us.
just yeah.
Yeah.
They're coming. Yeah. They're gonna
So
catch up.
and they're more advanced, you know, in civilization than us, and that's kind of where the beings and aliens and all that keep coming from, and they're coming here and be like, dude, you guys are fucking up, you guys are fucking
Yeah.
up,
You
you
got
know,
like we've literally been like crash landing spaceships here for you guys to like figure out,
to
and
figure
you
out what
idiots
we're
just can't fly backwards. Like,
doing. Yeah, just
what the
fly
fuck?
backwards.
Like,
Well, another thing that this gal was saying though too was that that same day, so CERN's already going, but they're
mhm.
conducting that experiment that day, and then also NASA is launching rockets that day.
Yeah, it's two rockets,
Yeah,
and it's isn't it like low Earth orbit?
I that's what they say, and I looked on it and it said it's low Earth orbit, but who knows? You know, maybe in say her theory held a little bit of weight. Basically, she's saying that they're shooting them to interact with this planet somehow, some way, and then shoot back, you know, basically information. You know, like they're trying to land on it, like it's so they can figure out what the fuck's going on with the planet and what it's about.
Yeah, and what their description on their website and stuff is they were shooting the rockets into low Earth orbit to measure any changes or any differences in the magnetosphere with it being a solar eclipse.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. It seems like there's a whole lot of people that are quoting Bible prophecy because of 7 years. The last one was 7 years ago, and it passed through 7 towns called Nevaeh, which means peace. 7 years later, it's creating an X, and it goes up through 7 different towns. That means basically we're fucked. And then it even goes through a town, even a town that it goes through. It's called Rapture.
Oh, I saw
So,
that. Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of crazy shit out there. I mean, it might be the end. Um, I doubt it. I think it's probably just a bunch of people going just buck wild. I mean, I'm gonna go outside and try and play golf while it's happening. I don't know if I'll be able to accomplish it because it's like 10 o'clock on a Monday. But you know, I think it'd be cool. The last lunar eclipse, I was out playing golf. That was pretty neat. So, I've done one, so maybe just kind of make it a tradition. Anytime there's some kind of astrometric something, fuck it, I'm going golfing.
Go golfing. It makes for good picks, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if the fucking internet goes out, might as well be outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. The weather patterns are supposed to be all fucked up and are already becoming erratic this week and the end of last week. 3 feet of snow got dumped in on the East Coast and in places where it doesn't generally dump 3 feet of snow.
April.
Yeah, in April or just in general. Let's see. Where was it? I gotta find out. Where is it? Iron Mountain. So I mean, it snows in Michigan, but 3 feet in April.
Just late in the season.
Usually.
Yeah. I mean, we got a pretty harsh winter, last year. But still, we just attributed it to Utah weather. But at the same time, you talk about that whole there's supposed to be 13 months and 28 days in each month.
Yeah, so we're always slipping a month back.
Yeah, so in that sense, the seasons would rotate. And
technically, it would be still March, the beginning of March.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though. So, but seasonal wise, and what we know as the 4 seasons would slowly start to rotate on the calendar.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Right.
And I think it's definitely happening. I think that summer is now lasting longer into the winter months.
October.
And then the winter is lasting further into the spring. So spring is actually becoming like end of June, start of July. And then summer is, August, September, and the end of October, and then it goes into fall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's kind of weird.
My lifetime, I've noticed the rotation.
Yeah, it seems like it's weird.
It's not even 50 years, so.
Yeah, I mean, pretty soon we're gonna be having like summer in December and shit. And we're gonna be all fucked off.
Yeah, right.
But with the weather, I wanted to get back to that. I think the weather's already kind of getting fucked up. There was a 7.4 earthquake in Taiwan, and they haven't had an earthquake in like 24 years. I mean, this thing like took down buildings. Strongest one in 25 years. It took down buildings. It caused a tsunami warning to go off in Okinawa, Japan. So, I mean, there's definitely some shit going on. And whether that has to do with, a little bit of extra magnetism, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little heavier today than I was yesterday because we're getting closer to the old solar eclipse. We'll have to find out. But if your arms start to get heavy, there's a little bit more magnetism in the earth.
Well, when that happens too, then wild shit start to happen. The oceans start going crazy. You're gonna see tsunami stuff. You're gonna see volcanoes erupting. You're gonna see earthquakes. Start to be more frequent during that time.
Yeah, I mean, if we get towards the end of the week and then like the ring of fire starts to light up, we know that maybe we're not going to get out of this unscathed. I don't know.
Just have a full tank of gas and a thing of water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, make sure you buy ammo.
Yeah.
So I think it's total trip. And yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. So hopefully you guys are all prepared out there. And
Yeah.
my guess is that nothing's gonna happen, but I'm not exactly an alarmist either. So
Yeah, mine isn't too. I mean, until the alarms start going off, I'm just gonna do, my regular routine until shit starts going off. May keep the kids home and maybe just do it as far as is like, hey, let's go watch the eclipse and whatever,
mhm.
just to make sure that if shit does hit the fan, that they're with me and I don't have to, go and dig them out of the fucking school or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, just fight through traffic to get to the school. You
Yeah,
gotta go the back
exactly.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
just going over backyard and shit. Yeah.
I haven't really decided. I I'll probably send my kids to school. I don't I don't think people get too crazy about it out here. So
Yeah, no, and you're a little bit
and
more spread out too. That I mean, it's not as tight of a concentration of people in one area where you're at.
yeah, and like there's like more rednecks too, which makes me feel safer
Yeah, oh yeah,
because
yeah,
like everybody's shooting in the same direction, and
yeah.
that's always good.
It's always
You
good to
know,
be around
we're all
rednecks
gonna meet up at the tractor supply, and we're gonna go get our kids.
too.
Yeah.
Right?
Ah, they're all out of BB guns. Shit.
Wow, no machine guns. I can't put them on the fucking
Ah, what do
Nova.
you guys have gun safes and no
That'd be
guns?
super cool.
Assholes. Give me that buck knife.
Definitely have my buck knife.
Dude, I'm telling you. But no, it's definitely a crazy world that we're living in. I think there's some really cool shit going on. I think that it's cool that we get to experience it. I mean, we've gone through an economic crash. We've gone through 4 wars so far. Uh, all kinds of lunar eclipses and solar eclipses. I don't know. There's a lot of shit that we've been through already, and
In a short amount of time,
very short amount of time.
just kind of yeah, I mean, you're a little younger than I am, but at the same time, just in that kind of general generation, I mean, there's been a lot packed in.
Yeah, the computer was invented, or
Yeah, over the
the
last,
computer was turned into a cell phone,
yeah,
and
a
the
fucking
laptop,
calculator.
the desktop. Yeah, now you got like a freaking uh, camera, a video recorder, a damn calculator, all the information right at the tip. Yeah, yeah. I mean, cars drive themselves now. That's some pretty cool shit, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah, but it's definitely took quite the leap. I guess when you're talking about technology, it's taken quite the leap in the last even 20 years, Um, but yeah, there's been a lot packed in over the last maybe 30 years, just kind of with natural events, um, the economy, um, the goddamn people in charge. Uh, it's been a lot, and
Yeah, it's totally been a trip.
gotta
But
kind of give it to this generation for actually, uh, you know, thriving
yeah,
through it. The ones
it's
who
kind of
are.
like, oh fuck, oh yeah, COVID. We went through
Yeah,
COVID
the
too.
COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and
the
then an
the
earthquake
disease.
while
Yeah,
while we were having COVID.
yeah. I mean, it's really just like, oh, it's just another Tuesday, or whatever. At this point, it's
Right.
like, oh, what can we fuck up today?
Well, so at this point, it's just kind of like, oh, there's an eclipse. Oh, cool. You know,
That's neat. I'll go
whatever.
outside and stare up it, see if I can't burn my retinas.
Right.
Yeah, I gotta get some of those glasses for the
Glasses.
for the eclipse thing.
Yeah,
I
I
wonder
think
if
we
they're
have
all
some.
sold out still
I
or
think
already.
we have some kicking around the house from the last eclipse because we all got the glasses.
I mean, can you use the lunar eclipse one for a solar eclipse?
They're just rebranded. It's the same fucking
That's
glasses.
I'm like, can I just wear my whatchamacallit? My
Ray Bans.
yeah, well the what are they called? With the when you can see into the water? I forget what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Polarized. Can I just wear my polarized sunglasses? Will that work? Will my eyeballs burn out?
Because you know the 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 film on them. Did you not get them for the last one?
Fuck no. I just looked up at it.
Well,
It was cool. Like I had my sunglasses on. I was like, oh,
Right.
that's neat.
But what
And
the
then I just went back
glasses
to cussing at the golf course.
the glasses did was they were totally blackout, and then when you look up at the sun, you could see the outline. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing that you could actually kind of see out of them. They were very dark, and you know, a lot darker than your normal your normal sunglasses would be. But yeah, obviously, Amy, you look up with sunglasses, you're gonna be fine. But that was the cool thing in the draw about the
okay,
eclipse
you know,
was
I think that Willie had a pair of those
he
because
did have a
we
pair
looked
of
through those when we were
Yes.
golfing.
Yeah.
I do remember looking through those, but I'm also not a smart man, so I looked with just my sunglasses too, and I was like, that's really bright. Probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Right.
And then cracked a beer, hit my next shot, and just kind of went on with my life. So
Right into the water.
yeah, good job,
Son of a
magnetosphere.
bitch.
Where the fuck were you at on that one?
You're like, man, I'm seeing these color blotches. What
Holy
the
shit.
fuck, man? Can I get another one? Can I get my bully?
That shit didn't happen, guys. That was my eclipse ball.
Right? Everyone gets an eclipse ball, right?
Are we not doing an eclipse, Molly? What the fuck?
What the fuck?
That's in the rule book somewhere, right? The eclipse, Molly?
It's gotta be. If not, it's gotta be written in.
Yeah, we got to rewrite the rules.
Penciled it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, eclipse rule.
Eclipse rule.
So, I don't know. I think we're about at time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we did good. I think some good info.
We got you got any shout outs? Shout outs to the boys.
Yeah, no. Shout out to Rob. Just because I was with him today, and we had a nice chat. And we had a nice burger, and he helped me out today, which was pretty awesome. And he's excited for Autorama, and I think we all are as excited as you can be. And then once we get it all set up, then I get more excited.
We're like, woo!
But that whole thing of getting it set up is just kind of but yeah, shout out to him, and shout out to the boys that are working hard again at the meadery. They're putting in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears up there, and we really, really appreciate it. And we're all excited to see, you know, the product come to life and come to fruition, and you know, the whole company just start rolling. So hats off to you guys up there. I know it's hard work, and but appreciate you doing it there. Keep working hard and kicking ass, man.
Yeah, dude. Big kudos to those guys up there, lifting jugs of canned pears and jugs of honey, and pumping water, stirring water, boiling stuff, and just doing the mead thing. I'm glad that we could do our small part to, keep the podcast going and everything while you guys are up there doing all the heavy lifting and taking care of business. So, cheers to you guys, and we'll be seeing you soon. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, with that being said, cheers, motherfuckers. I'm the JARL. Stay weird, beardos. Some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, you got
Fuck.
it. You got it.
You gotta really nail that fucking thing down, huh?
No, I'm the best. Shock your dead, baby.
Cheers, fucker.
Cheers.
And we are